right, one final stock to talk about, and that is Holdsport. Founded in Cape Town back in the day, it's been on the market and off the market. Some of its assets were in the More Sport group, others ended up in Vestacor for a while, but it's back. Kevin Hodgson, Tony Harburger, the managers of the business. It has, of course, the Sportsmans warehouse businesses, and then in addition, it also owns the outdoor warehouse. That's if you want to go camping. And then you may or may not know that they also have a controlling stake, 75%, in First Ascent and Cape Storm. So those are local brands where they do the cut, make, and trim using fabulous technical fabrics that get imported, and that's of course in order to sell to people exercise gear, hiking gear with all those wicking fabrics and all of the fancy stitching and so on and so forth. It came back to the market in 2011. I have been watching this one with interest, again, because I like the sporting apparel investment category. Although it must be noted they don't have a dominant market position in that space. Sure, Sportsman's Warehouse is a good place to go to buy cricket bats and sports shoes, but there are also specialist running stores. There are the Total Sports and Sports Scene guys competing in the upper end branded sports gear, Kaiser Chiefs shirts type of market. And then, of course, at the lower end, you've got people like Mr. Price Sports with the Maxid brand also giving it horns. So this company hasn't exactly shot the lights out since it came back to the market. The earnings have been muted but positive, and there's been quite a lot of insider share selling. So that's, for example, the CEO, Kevin Hodgson, has offloaded quite a lot of shares over time to institutional shareholders. There are, though, quite a few solid institutional shareholding, Coronation Asset Management in particular, big position in this one. So what are we talking about here scale-wise? A company with a market cap of 2.1 billion rand. The price-to-earnings ratio is around 12. That's all good and well. Dividend yield 5%. Well, that's actually quite high. And recently they paid a special dividend when they offloaded a distribution facility which they owned and which they figured they could rather lease from a property owner. I think they sold it to Growth Point or Redefine or one of those kind of people. That was in Cape Town. Look, I like this stock. We have a modest position in the portfolio, and that's because I just think anything associated with sports apparel and athleisure and leisure wear and sports gear is going to do well. With the Rugby World Cup final coming out, they are selling those Springbok shirts like it's going out of fashion. And of course, the Soweto Derby never goes out of fashion, so they're selling lots of those things as well. Share price chart, let's have a look at that. Yeah, it's sort of drifted around. It's hanging in there at around 50 rands a share. We haven't really done much in the way of price improvement there, but I'm still hot on it. I like this one. I think it's going to have very solid earnings. And where else can you buy a 2 billion rand market cap retailer in our market with a PE of close to 10? That's damn cheap. Of course, the earnings do have to come through in order to move that higher. But yes, I'm hot on that one too.